Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep are the makers of premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to suit your needs and delivered right to your doorstep. Did you know that March is National Sleep Awareness Month and that a lack of sleep reduces your body's ability to fight off illness? I certainly can attest to that. As soon as I get run down and don't get enough sleep, I almost always get sick. Sleep is so very important. My husband and I have been getting great sleep on our Helix Sleep mattress. We upgraded several years ago from a mattress that we inherited, and the springs were definitely getting loose and it was getting a little bit lumpy. Our Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe, which we matched with using the Helix Sleep Quiz, which takes all the guesswork at finding the perfect mattress for your needs. We entered our sleeping preferences and we matched with the Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe, and I love it. I really love the squishy top. The foam is responsive without feeling excessively sinky. You know, when memory foam can be super sinky, this one is just right, and it's great for both back and stomach sleepers. At this point, my entire immediate family have Helix Sleep mattresses and they're getting great sleep as well. So my husband and I love our bed, as do our children, and every night I read to my children, and on the weekends we read in my bed. It's super sweet, it's special, and extra cozy. All Helix Sleep mattresses are made and shipped from their Arizona factory in the US, and all come with a 120-night sleep trial to make sure you love it. So if you'd like to start getting great sleep with Helix Sleep, you can click the link down below or head over to helixsleep.com/emmymade and take advantage of their March Madness sale. It's 20% off site-wide. Big thanks to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video and for their continued support so I can make better videos for all of you. Alrighty, my lovelies, today we're going to be conducting a little experiment with coffee. Now, I originally saw James Hoffmann here on YouTube, the coffee connoisseur, deep fry green coffee beans as a means of roasting coffee beans. Now, Ordinary Sausage, on the other hand, deep fried already roasted coffee beans. Now, he is definitely not a coffee connoisseur, and myself, I feel I'm somewhere in between Ordinary Sausage and James Hoffmann, as someone who very much loves coffee and is no expert by any means, but is very curious, which I think all of us share, this curiosity of things. So today, we're going to be roasting coffee beans by deep frying them. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing we're gonna need are some beans. Now, I picked up this bag of beans online. This is 3 pounds Caturra. This is 100% Arabica coffee, green unroasted beans. This is from Nicaragua. So I chose these for no other reason that they are single source, they could get here quickly, and that they were green. And this is what green coffee beans look like. They are kind of green, light brown, greenish in color, and they smell very different to what I associate the smell of coffee being. They smell kind of waxy, slightly sweet, maybe a little bit brown sugary, and it's because they haven't been roasted. So according to James, the traditional means of roasting coffee is with a large drum in which hot air is forced through. So it's roasted by a couple of means: conductive heat from touching the hot drum, but also through convection with the hot air. But today, rather than using hot air, we're going to be using hot oil. Alrighty, lovelies, I've got some plain old neutral flavored vegetable oil heating up to 100, and we want it 38 degrees. Okay, we're at temp. I'm gonna turn off the heat for just a second, and then I'm gonna add our green beans. Okay, I'm gonna reapply the heat. We're gonna try to maintain the 138. It's a little hot. I'm gonna stir these around, and we're gonna roast these until they look roasted, until they develop a nice chocolatey dark brown color. And then I'm going to drain them onto some paper towel. Let's see what they look like. Oh yeah, they're roasting. Look at that. They're frying. They're not really roasting. So right now it just smells like we're deep frying. It smells like frying oil. It doesn't necessarily smell like coffee at all, but they are getting darker in color. I'm going to keep stirring them because I want to keep this as even as possible while maintaining the temperature. Looking good. So far we've been frying now for 3 minutes and 50 4 seconds. So I'm gonna keep frying this. Okay. Until we get a beautiful chocolatey color. We are getting there, look at that. They're darkening. But it is tricky because some of them are toasting faster than others. I'll be back in another 4 minutes once this is all browned up. Alrighty, lovelies, it's almost been exactly 10 minutes and I think we are ready to take the beans out. Let's pull them out, look at that. Put them on some paper towel. Doesn't look very even in terms of the coloring of our beans. Some are very light and some are darker. So I'm going to rub them with a bit of paper towel here to remove, see, look at that, those little husky bits. Interesting, right? And right now, it doesn't smell like coffee. It smells actually quite savory. Yeah, it smells more like fried chicken almost, more than coffee, which is so unusual. Continue patting this oil off, and then I'm going to use a dish towel to get any excess oil. Blotting, really, and trying to cool these down quickly. After I pat the excess oil off of these, I'm going to sacrifice this dish towel. I'm going to take these outside. It's pretty cool out there, near freezing actually, and let these sit for a bit just to further cool them down. Take this off. So now that I've mixed them all around, they don't look as uneven in terms of color. But I think that's just simply because we've distributed them all together, combined them. Look at the beans up close. Neat, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take these outside and let them cool, and then we'll set up our coffee setup so we can finally give this a taste. Okay. Be right back. So this is my coffee grinder. I hope I don't regret doing this, but this is the only coffee grinder I have, and we're gonna grind some of our deep fried beans. I used to have a hand grinder, but I think it's in our camping tote. At any rate, we're gonna be using this. So I'm going to grind a couple handfuls of beans so I can have enough to make a cup of coffee. Alrighty, here we go. This is really loud. Ooh, that doesn't sound like it normally sounds. All right, so now we've got our coffee grounds. They are lighter than usual, and they smell, it smells more coffee-like now. So I don't know, let's see. I am no coffee expert, and we used to make coffee exclusively using the pour-over method because we just wanted a cup or two of coffee every morning. To this day, I have a cup of coffee every morning, a cup. And so that was great for us, but then when we had company over, our company questioned our pour-over technique and said, why don't you have a coffee maker? And I said, you know what, I resisted. But then when my father came to visit, he loves a good cup of coffee, maybe 1 or 2 cups, I thought a coffee maker might be a good idea for company. And I got this after much research. It's a Mocha Master, and I love it. So this is what I use. Once again, no expert, but I really love this machine because it makes a great cup of coffee. But besides that, all these parts are replaceable. So if something goes wrong, something breaks, I can get a new part for it. Love, love, love that. Techniform is the Dutch company that make these coffee makers. They've been doing it, I believe, since the 70s. Same design. Look, isn't it cool? I love it. And it's really easy to use. It's just like a drip coffee maker because that's what it is. Put our filter into the basket just like you would any of the plastic ones that you buy at the store. I like to get a little bit wet and put this over here. Into the reservoir, I'm adding 10 ounces of water. Usually we make a full pot, but since I'm just making this as an experiment, I measured the 10 ounces, and then into the filter, I'm adding 2 scoops, 2 level scoops of my deep fried coffee. Into here, and to here. And then I hit brew. There are 2 toggles, super easy to use, on or off, and then this is the pot warming setting. There's half a pot or a full pot, and it will turn itself off automatically. Love that. So water goes up, the tube and then drips right here. Isn't that great? Over the coffee, and then it drips down into the pot. Kind of a light brew, huh? So I think the biggest plus for me for the coffee maker versus the pour over is that the coffee is really hot. I like my coffee piping hot, and with a pour over you lose some of that heat. Now some people may say that you're supposed to have it at a cooler temperature. I'm not an expert. I just know what I like. I like a hot cup of coffee, and when it's on a burner it stays hot, but we usually make it right away and drink it right away. It doesn't usually languish here. So okay, the sounds of that sounds like it's done. The first thing I notice is that the brew is very light. Look at that. It's pretty light in color. And let's go ahead and pour ourselves a cup. I normally would have this in a different kind of mug, but I just want you to see the color. It smells like coffee. It looks a little bit more like tea, and it's a little cloudy. I don't know. It's hot though. There it is. Deep fried coffee. Righty lovelies, my first taste of deep fried coffee. Cheers. It smells kind of like coffee. Alrighty, here we go. It's very light. And it tastes coffee-ish. It's not bitter, but it does have that tannicky bitterness that I associate with coffee, but it's not strongly bitter or burnt tasting. No, it is very smooth, but it's very light. It doesn't have a nice concentrated coffee flavor. In fact, if someone were to give this to me, I would say this is really watered down coffee, or more like tea almost, but the flavor is not tea. But my biggest question was whether or not it was going to taste like potato chips, and it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't taste like potato chips, but I smell like potato chips. My entire kitchen smells like potato chips, as does my hair, but the coffee doesn't taste like it. But it's not quite right. It doesn't have the lovely aroma of coffee, but more importantly, it doesn't have that really lovely coffee flavor, that toasted, almost burnt, chocolatey, nutty flavor of coffee. But it's not terrible. It just tastes weak. Yeah. So what would I give that? I would definitely not repeat this again. I would rather fry some donuts or French fries for that matter, but I did satisfy my curiosity on the idea of deep frying coffee. And now I have close to 3 pounds of coffee to experiment with roasting. I'm really curious to roast them with a popcorn popper. I think that's a very popular means of doing it. James also experimented using an air fryer, which I thought potentially would make a great tool to roast coffee, but based on his results, I won't be pursuing that. So I think a popcorn popper. If you're curious about those experiments as well, let me know down in the comments. And if there are enough of you, we can follow up with a part 2 on other ways to roast coffee at home. Alright, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching, and big thanks to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to check out Helix for yourself, you can click the link down below or head over to helixsleep.com/emmymade and take advantage of their March Madness sale. It's 20% off site-wide. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! I wonder what happens when you have coffee at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess I'm about to find out. Curses! It might be all right. Remember, you said it was weak.